I do a lot of videos on bad bathroom renovations, and some of those comments that I got or have had over the years, course of 7 years on YouTube, twofold. One of them is, let's see your work, which is kind of idiotic because I have a lot of videos of my work, and in line with that, why do you critique other people's work? It's not, if you're making comments like that, don't bother. It's not for your consumption. When I do these videos, which I started 7 years ago on a bad bathroom renovation that somebody had done, and the customer had spent, you know, close to 25 grand having it redone, I was beside myself. And so the reason I do these type of videos is a heads up to other people. Hopefully you see this video before or during bathroom renovation, so that when it goes south, it's not after the bathroom renovation. So that's the reason, and this is another one of those jobs where this is a contractor who came in. This was not a homeowner. That's another comment I get sometimes in my bad bathroom videos, is that this is a homeowner too embarrassed to talk about that he did it and that he was claiming it was a contractor, and that's not the case here. This was a contractor. It was a female contractor who subbed out a couple of the jobs that you're going to see momentarily in here, but she did all this tile work, and I've seen her scribbled out estimate and all that stuff. So anyway, there are so many things here that are bad. I'm trying to do short videos when I do the bad bathroom jobs, but I get overwhelmed by the preponderance of all the mistakes that it becomes a longer video than I intend. So be patient with me. I'm going to start from the beginning. This used to be a tub. This was at one point a cast iron tub 5 foot long. There was a vanity that sat over in this corner, and you'll be able to see the outline of where that vanity was, and then there was this closet over here. So they tore out these walls and they decided they want a double vanity, which is going to be over here. You know, they had moved the toilet over to be center. They extended the shower out a little bit, and it's still 5 foot long, but now it's 3 foot deep or 3.5 foot deep or whatever. And picked out all their tile and spent a lot of money on their tile, and now they're at basically 90% done, and it's all ruined. And again, starting out on YouTube 7 years ago, that's the very first video that I posted where that woman had spent 25 grand on her bathroom over the course of 6 weeks and had a bathroom that was non-functional. And here we go again, in the same light that happened. There's just a lot of things going on here that, for time's sake, I'm gonna just kind of go through this kind of quickly as I do on some of my videos, and let you kind of sort out things on your own, and then I'm going to come back momentarily and kind of go through some explanation. Starting out at the entrance, there is some things going on that are kind of an anomaly to me anyway. There are certain reasons why you would red guard a floor. For example, if you had a curbless shower, yes, that would be a reason to red guard the floor. If you had a steam shower, if you had what they call I forgot the term now, it's like an all-in-one bathroom where the whole bathroom becomes basically a wet area. I don't know why they would have red guarded the hardy backer they put on here, but they missed some hardy backer application here. They also put pan liner, as you're going to see over there in the corner. They put pan liner on the entire floor. How they made that happen, I'm not sure. They probably glued it somehow to the subfloor, and then on top of that they nailed in or screwed in hardy backer, and then they red guarded the whole thing. And so I don't know the point in all of that. And bigger issues like this, you can see the thin set was very sloppily just thrown in there, and just it's a horrible job in one light. But on the other hand, they saved a lot of tile, these guys did, because they didn't back butter the tile. So the first tile up here come off relatively easily, and they're basically pristine. So that's always a mixed blessing that they did a horrible job, but because they did, they were able to save a lot of this tile. And I'm assuming that most of this tile, because it wasn't back buttered, will come up fairly easily. But it's still not a good job. There was really no rhyme or reason to the spacing. Here you barely have a 1/16 of an inch, but on other areas you have a 1/4 of an inch. And then there's other areas back here where it's 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. And you have areas back here where it's 1/2 an inch. It's just, there is no spacing, there is no rhyme or reason to it. And again, you have pan liner on the subfloor, which is a total unnecessary thing to do. And then of course the hardy backer screwed into the pan liner onto the subfloor negates a little bit having the pan liner on there. There are some plumbing issues which I'm going to go over very briefly, but I don't know if you can see it on here on the video, but this thing is cockeyed. It's a lot lower. It's probably 1/2 an inch lower here and rises up 1/2 an inch higher over here. And so it just goes at an angle, and it's also kind of flush to the tile, which it shouldn't be. This top flange should be sitting on top of the tile. But anyway, there are some other issues. There's going to be eventually a bidet here which needs hot and cold, and so my first thought was, oh, you got hot and cold with PEX, and I don't like PEX for a lot of different reasons. And I'm not going to get into that, I'll just skip that. On this side, this was never the Vanity. As I explained to you when I first started, there's an outline of the original Vanity. I don't know where the supply lines were. There's a sharp bite on one line, but I don't see a secondary sharp bite, so I don't know where they cut out for that Vanity not to be there anymore and decided to have the Vanity over here. So they brought in PEX, but they capped these off with sharp bites, and I believe these are dry lines, because my take on it is that these lines got put up under the floor before they did the tiling, and those are dry lines right there. So those are probably also dry, even though they put sharp bites on them, because they never finished off the plumbing over here, which is kind of odd. And there's no toilet supply line. Also, I believe this toilet is 14, my foot's about a foot with my shoe on, so we're about 16 to 17 inches, maybe 18 inches off of the wall from center, which it should be 12, so that's another issue, and I'm kind of at a loss. Back over here we have the double Vanity, okay, 1.5 inches, that's cool, but they capped off the line here. This should be a stack. It needs to breathe. This really needed to be a 2-inch line going down. The drain for this whole place goes this direction. There's another bathroom here, and in the back downstairs there's a kitchen. So all the plumbing ends here, but yet this line goes over to the left here. Plus it's an 1.5 inch line, and it should have been a 2-inch line that transitioned down. And I don't believe it's plumbed in. I think it probably just stops below floor level. A couple of reasons why. Because if they tied into a current pipe, then that should have been solid, and I shouldn't be able to move it like that. Second thing is, they subbed the plumbing, and any plumber is going to strap pipes down, and it shouldn't be loose like that. And again, a Studer should have been used over here on top of that in order to have some type of positive drain going on. Same as you had this line, which was the original Vanity line, and this goes out to the ceiling because this is your stack, and then everything drains down below surface. Anyway, not to go into that too much. Focus on the tile, Bob, focus on the tile, because there's so much going on here. I don't want to bore you to death. We have a bull nose that is offset and has definite lippage going on this side. We have bull nose on this side. We have bull nose on this side, which is crazy. A lot of lippage here, a lot of unevenness of the tile going all the way up. you know, some type of funky cut up there for whatever reason that they did that. A couple of pieces put in here with bullnose on the top of the curb, and little scab pieces put in and cockeyed, glued in cockeyed, by the way. These aren't loose. These are glued in just the way you see them, and it's hard to see on video, but they're definitely cockeyed. And then they just kind of forgot over here. Don't know how to do 45 cuts. Don't know how to do top caps, and holy moly, there's just so much going on here. So let me back up a little bit. These are 24 by 12 inch tile. What I would have done is had one single piece of tile rather than have this line here. And yes, double bullnose that one piece of tile. But then again, they didn't double bullnose over here. The bullnose goes inside with a sliver bullnose on the end part of here rather than, you know, it's just, you can just look for yourself and look at that. I mean, you know, inch grout line and cockeyed tile and pieces put in to take up the difference of stuff, and you know, the cuts. And apparently this contractor was pretty proud of her work. I don't know why, I don't know how. It's like a 5-year-old that's blind and on meth that, you know, the work quality is not even close to what a contractor starting out in the business. I mean, you know, the gaps in here, literally I can almost get my finger in here, and then no gaps up there. And you know, the top end is horrible. The little pieces that are put in the top to take up the difference, I don't get that at all. Oh, by the way, we have little pencil pieces put at the bottom also to take up some type of difference, and I don't know if that was a design feature for what reason that was done. You know, these cuts aren't even, you know, there's short, those cuts are short on here. You're not going to be able to see on the video probably, but this is a very, very profound slope from this corner and a huge piece of lippage going on. But this slope is huge over here, and then it kind of dips down here in the center, and then the slope is huge over there. So it kind of goes like this at a curve. The back wall has no rhyme or reason, because these tile are literally, these last tile are not even close to being here. It's just like they just went boom and then a different angle. This area is lower than this area, and although yes, everything slopes down to the drainer eventually, it just has no rhyme or reason to any of the slope at all. And then we get to the drain area, and the cuts are what they are at the drain area. And the drain looks cockeyed too. It looks like this part of the drain is higher than that part of the drain, and the drain is in the center, which in the scheme of things doesn't matter, but that would kind of drive me crazy. Big, huge gap with a screw holding it up while it dried. But a big gap with the glass edge that was just filled in with grout. I'm at a loss. The SKU number is still on the glass back here. That's kind of messed up. Big discrepancies on this trim piece. Tile wasn't set very well either. Unsanded grout, by the way. Should have been sanded grout on here. Unsanded grout on this large of an area with this type of tile. I would never ever recommend unsanded grout. You know, like, it just doesn't make any sense to use this. It's very chalky and it's not going to hold up. There's going to be cracking eventually. This tile is a decorative tile for, say, a backsplash or an office type environment, because you're not supposed to grout inside of these cracks, and it's going to be very difficult to grout all this and avoid getting grout into these cracks. So this is definitely not something I would use. But there's lippage and there's unevenness of this stuff, and yeah, it's just, It's not a good job at all. I'm at a loss for words as to why all of this stuff. I don't even know what's going on here, if this is done correctly. I don't know the plumbing part of it, since we got into this plumbing and that not being right. I'm not even convinced that this is right, or even has water going to it. I don't even know that to be true. So this apparently is a diverter mixer, so that this will come out with a very shiny nipple and a cover of some sort, and then a hose attachment put on here with a bar, and the bar gets attached to the wall with a slider handle here. And so we're assuming that works on the diverter. It hasn't been tested yet. Don't know anything about this at all, so not really sure if it's functional. Functional wouldn't matter in the end, because none of the tile is kind of functional, and you know, it's a shame. And the reason again that I do these videos, this is 90% done, 85-90% done, and basically it's a horrible job that needs to all be taken out. So this is, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars that has to be spent over that never needed to be. And you know, getting to my point, when you get a contract done and you're sorting out, trying to find a contractor, you know, to do your job, it's up to you as a consumer to do due diligence. There's no reason in 2018 why somebody should not have an internet presence, good, bad, or indifferent. You should be able to Google somebody and find out, you know, hey, this person has been in business for so long, they've got a website, they've got a YouTube channel, they have references, they have, you know, something on not Zillow, but you know, some of the other websites that talk about, you know, good and bad restaurants and things like that. There's going to be some type of presence on the internet. And if there's no presence at all, based on either the contractor's name, their phone number, whatever, if there's no presence, that's a heads up, something's wrong. The three reference thing, I'm not about at all. Three reference thing means nothing to me, because that could be three friends or relatives that you have. What I send out is a PDF file that has 50 references, and that's going back, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And I don't know that you can get a hold of 50, but you're going to get a hold of 10 out of 50, and that's another way, you know, to kind of know what you don't know about your contractor. And don't get into jobs like this where you're in it, you know, $8, $9, $10, $15,000, and then everything here that you see has to be taken out. All this flooring has to be taken out. The shower has to be taken out. We got to figure out what to do with the plumbing and how that's going to work, if it's working at all. And now you're back into it like you just started. Like you just started brand new, you're back into it. Another, you know, 10 grand or 15 grand again. And it's totally unnecessary if you would do that due diligence. Or at the very least, if you get caught up and somehow you get talked in, a contractor comes in and talks you in, and you didn't do your due diligence, by the time you get to any one of these things and you come in, you know, the next day or 2 days later, and you see the lines here and you go, no, this is wrong, don't do this, and they continue doing things like this, then eventually just send them on their way. You know, just pack their bags and their trowels. And look at here. What purpose would an 1/8 inch V-notch trowel have in any of this? No purpose at all. It's not even the right tools that were used. So what I'm getting at is, by the time they get to mistakes here, stop. By the time you start seeing crap like this on the curb, you know, just stop. By the time they get to the floor, if they did the floor first instead of the curb, and you know, you see all these dips and all that stuff the next day, stop. You know, stop when you get to something like this. When you there's so many things that are wrong with this shower and this bathroom and everything, that any one of these would be a heads up for you to get out. But again, let me reiterate, before you get into this and spending extra money, due diligence. Find out about your contractor. You know, if you're afraid of the higher price, you know, somebody come in and they said, you know, I'll do this for $20,000, and you're like, I'll shop around, and then you get somebody for 12 or 10 or something like that, then be careful. You know, it's better to spend that 20,000 rather than later on spending 25 or 30,000. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm not saying go with the most expensive. What I'm saying is find out about who you're hiring first before you get them into, or you get yourself into this conundrum, which is what it is. Like, what do? You can't live with this. You know, it's like going to Vegas and just blowing a bunch of money and then not having any recourse. You know, it's just gone. You just have to deal with it, and that's a shame. I don't like it at all. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, then subscribe. Hit that button and subscribe. I make nothing off of YouTube, so please be a Patreon member. I'm going to post a link down below to my Patreon account, and you can donate $1, $5, $10, $20 a month. Just pledge that on a monthly basis. That will help me produce more videos and content so that you can watch and learn from my channel. And donate at least $50 if you're going to call. If you're going to call for advice, donate to my PayPal, please. Donate first, and then feel free to call me or email me for advice. Otherwise, business calls only, please.